Yo, what is up? We are back, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to go from general to specific when it comes to finding your purpose. What I'm really talking about here is when people think about purpose, oftentimes they want to have a specific purpose. They want it to be detailed. They want it to be really this thing that they can name, and it's their career. In this video, I'm going to be discussing why being specific can be a problem early on in your journey to finding your purpose, how to go more general, and then how to go from general to specific in the right way. So my purpose can be general or it can be specific. And there are times in your life when you're going to want to go general. And there are times in your life when you're going to want to go specific. And right now, my goal for this course is for you to understand both areas, both sides, and then be able to navigate between these spectrum of general to specific, and allow yourself to really get to a place where you feel comfortable being in any side of the spectrum. So let's begin. When I was doing some research for this course, there was actually a lot of contradiction between spiritual teachers. They would say that there was no specific purpose. We're just here to live. We're just here to experience life. And then there were other people who were saying that, no, you actually have something very deep that only you can do. This is your calling. This is your purpose. And it's what you came here to do, what your soul wants you to do. And you need to go out and find it. And the latter resonates way more with me than the former. Obviously, I mean, that's what I'm doing here. I'm talking about how to find your specific purpose. But I understand why the teachers really go and say there is no specific purpose. I'm just going to say, you know what? You saying that there's no specific purpose is not wrong. I'm going to integrate into this understanding that you can have a general purpose where you're saying, my purpose is to just exist. Or you can have a very specific purpose, which is you saying this is the one thing I need to do and this is what I was born to do. So first off, there's a reason why you shouldn't go specific. You shouldn't go specific because it puts too much expectation on yourself. Because if you are early on in your journey and you don't have a clear understanding of who you are, then it's going to be very hard for you to get to the nitty-gritty and say what you're specifically meant to do. Because you haven't honed in on your skills, on yourself, or even on your higher self to understand how all of this comes together to form a specific purpose. Understand that as beings, we are a composition of multiple things, of multiple layers. So we are a synthesis. Understanding the parts that make us us is going to be the first step in getting to a specific purpose. Because you can't really use a tool to its highest potential unless you understand the tool, unless you understand the features, unless you understand the functions, unless you understand the why. Because if you are given a knife and you were never taught how to use it, then you might just never know what it was meant to do. You never use it to its fullest potential. So it's the same thing with us. We are like weapons, or we are like tools, or we are like pieces in this big puzzle of life. And if we really want to find what we're meant to do in this life, we need to first find ourselves and then move from there. You can then see how putting this big expectation of I want my specific purpose and I can't find it, and so that will then lead to either one of two things. So the first thing would be you just give up and you just stop believing in this idea of purpose, and maybe you just just live and you just go on about that. Or you are constantly feeling depressed because you don't have a purpose and you don't know how to find it. And with this video, I'm going to help you get out of that so we can avoid both of these situations. And we can get to a place where we feel like we're in alignment with who we truly are, moving towards something meaningful. So I'm going to give you 3 ways to combat this problem. First one is going to be make finding your purpose your purpose. And even though that might sound silly, this is really what got me moving. Because when you make finding your purpose, you're giving yourself an objective that you can actively progress in. You're giving yourself something that you can actively measure. And it's thanks to this course here that this course will serve as a way for you to measure your progression. Because as you go along the course, as you finish the videos, as you finish the objectives, you will be able to progress closer and closer to your purpose. And even the intention the switch in intention of I want to find my purpose, that will change everything in the way that it has to. Because then you will start to see how maybe your job fits in there, maybe your family, maybe your decisions that you've made in the past, maybe your passions. You'll start to reflect on these things and you'll start to put them together in a way that you can understand what you're meant to do in this life. So making finding your purpose is really approaching the problem from a more general perspective. You're not really worried about how to make it happen. You're not really worried about the specific, what is my purpose? You're more so actively engaging in the process. And so you've kind of let go of that idea and allowing for it to come to you when the time is right. The next thing that you should do is be present. Make being present your objective. And this is something that I took from Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, which is a super powerful book that really transformed the way I see things. But especially when it pertains to purpose, when you make being present your purpose, you're able to access higher dimensions in the now. And what I'm referring to, for example, would be the flow state. When you embody presence, you naturally get into flow. And this within itself, when you enter the flow state, you're able to see aspects of yourself that you're usually not able to see. So a lot of people would even sometimes mention, if you don't know what your passion is, then look at your day-to-day activities and see what specific activities help you get into the flow state more easily. And so you bring more of those things into your life. But another thing about presence is that when you make presence your primary objective, you're able to meet the circumstances in the way that you need to. You're able to serve the world in the way that you need to. So presence is really what allows for the expression of authenticity. When you're present, you are authentic. You are a pure expression of the now. And when that happens, you are living your purpose. And this is really also why people say that there is no purpose, because when you say there's no purpose, you let go of that idea, of that expectation, and you can finally focus on what you're doing here, because that's basically what they're saying. There's no purpose. I'm just supposed to be here and live and experience, and that's what you're doing. You're experiencing, you're living, and you're doing it. And that is also an expression of purpose from a more general perspective. Next, I want to talk about the spectrum of purpose, which is this understanding that purpose can exist at a very personal level, but it can also exist from a very universal level. And the spectrum from personal to universal is going to help you out here, because sometimes you can find your purpose within some of these spaces, but not all of them. So understanding that you might not have an individual purpose yet, but you understand that maybe you have a relational purpose. Maybe you find purpose in relationships and connecting with people. Maybe that brings you joy. Or maybe you find purpose in the idea that we're all here and there's something that the odds of us existing here are one in infinity. So the fact that we do exist means that we're meant to be here. And if that brings you meaning, then that's you finding purpose from a more universal perspective. The scale here that exists will help you really have more peace with not knowing your specific purpose, specific individual purpose. So this also means that maybe if you have trouble and you don't know, maybe there's an area in your life that you struggle to find your purpose in, well, dive deeper into the ones that you already find easy. Dive into the things that you already find meaningful. And so bring more of those things into your life. And that will allow you to enter into that frequency of being in alignment. And then you can carry that over to the places that you're struggling in. And it'll allow you to level it all out. So those are the three approaches that I would say. Make finding your purpose your purpose. Basically, continue on this course, basically. And then 2, be present. Practice mindfulness, practice being in the now, make that your objective. Whenever you think about picking up your phone, don't pick it up. Sit and meditate. Or if you're losing yourself during a conversation, make sure to catch yourself and come back to the conversation and focus on the person. Think about what they're saying, etc. Those are little techniques that you can incorporate. And then approach number 3 is understanding where you lie in the spectrum of purpose. Once you understand where you lie, focus on the things that you have less resistance to, where you find yourself more easily finding meaning, and then focus on that more, and then allow yourself to then come out of that and see how that frequency of meaning can be applied to other areas of your life. And all of this really comes from an understanding of the law of attraction. As you are working and taking on these different approaches, the understanding of the law of attraction is really, you start general, And as you just capture a feeling. And the feeling that we're looking here for is fulfillment or meaning. And when you capture that feeling, you want to sit there and really feel that. You want to look for places in your life where you can actually attract that, where you actually feel that. And when you do that and you focus more on that and you allow yourself to embody that, then you as an individual become transformed. And so you then become a catalyst for circumstances to replicate more of that same feeling. So as you embody fulfillment, you become fulfillment. And so the circumstances around you become even more fulfilling. And that is the basic premise of law of attraction. And as you start to get closer and closer to, or as you keep experiencing this frequency, then an idea will come to you and it will hit you and it will be specific. And it will happen though only as a result of you embodying this state of being. So that is the general understanding. And I just taught you how to use law of attraction here to find your purpose. So that's it for this course. In the next module, we're going to be going into tools that you can begin using to start at the personal level. We're going to be looking into personality tests, astrology, numerology, and structural or psychological development. And stay tuned for that. And that's really it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you in module 2.